1, 2. Can you guys hear me? Check 1, 2. Check. Sorry. Can you hear me? All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to our township meeting for Monday, July 8th. In attendance tonight we have Supervisor Albert, Supervisor Erler, Supervisor Friedman, Supervisor Ekman, and I'm Supervisor Birmingham.
Can I pause you for a second? I'm not ready in the moment. My computer's not working. Could you give me a couple minutes?
Yes, we can give you a couple minutes. That's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So how's everybody doing? I'll give her a minute. I'll give her a couple minutes. Yeah. So I want to. We were going to have the meeting at the park tonight, but there's air quality issues, and thank you for informing me. So that's why the meeting is here at the township building. You want me to just go forward? I'll give her. Yeah.
No recording device.
Yeah. Ron, any legal issues you see with this?
No, but you could probably do announcements. I don't think that's going to hurt what you might be doing. If you do one announcement now.
Well, until we change the, until we change
This
the,
isn't hearing or anything, we have to ask Ron.
right, but then we would have to amend the agenda if we do announcements.
Yeah, we could just say we're moving it up. All right, are you good to go?
1 second. One more minute. Hold on.
Don't you guys have any humorous anecdotes that you could share while we're waiting?
Okay, we're good. Whew, thank you, you saved me. I didn't have anything funny to say. Okay, and so in attendance tonight we have Supervisor Albert, Supervisor Erler, Supervisor Friedman, Supervisor Ekman, and I'm Supervisor Birmingham. So we do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. Agendas are at the podium if anybody needs a copy of tonight's agenda. Have all the supervisors seen the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, I'll open it up for public comment. Public comment is 3 minutes. Our township manager will be timing the 3 minutes because our sturdy time clock is recharging as we speak. So Nick, you will.
All right, I got the official clock right here.
So when the 3 minutes is up, Nick. When the 3 minutes is up, Nick, if you could just do a beep, beep, beep. No, I'm just kidding. Who wants to make a public comment? Stavros. And just name and address, please.
Could you actually spell your name as well?
Absolutely. Stavros Barbonis, STAVROS, BARBOUNIS, 1805 Potomac Street. Many of you know what I'm about to say. The public does not. What the public doesn't know is I submitted my resignation as the chairman of the Parks and Rec Board this past, I think it was Thursday or Friday. The public needs to know why. The first count is, as a board, I feel like your actions, Supervisor Birmingham, are dismissive, undermining, and disregarding of all of the efforts of the members of the Parks and Recreation Board. We are tasked by ordinance with park development, sports and recreation, and community events. We do all three. Yes, the bathrooms took a while. The township provided us with a second opinion from a third-party engineering firm that told us that the calf barns were unsuitable. The township engineer came back after all that went through, prior township manager, I get it, and said, no, they're actually fine. We continued. 4 years. You proceeded to define, design, and plan for a ribbon cutting without even asking the Parks and Rec Board if we wanted to be part of that planning. You had the whole event, you planned it in the middle of the day when the 5 of us actually work. You did not recognize the Parks and Rec Board in your Facebook post. You did not recognize the Parks and Rec Board in the article you sent, I think it was the Blue Valley Times. You dismissed us. What I said in my email was, I'm not having it. You have 5 volunteers on this board when I've publicly asked for 3 years for additional letters of interest. 0. So with everything we do to have you behave the way you are, and I'm trying to lead a board that nobody wanted to chair 2 years ago, 0 interest. That board actually reached out to me outside of the COVID online meeting to say, hey, are you willing to come back? And I did. I do and I did do this for the community. It's a selfless act for me. I don't need recognition. I don't need spotlight. I don't need any of that. But I will not be dismissed. The Parks and Rec Board should not have been dismissed. This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not the third time. This is the 4th time, I believe, that you've done this to the Parks and Rec Board. And as their chairman, I'm putting my foot down. I'm here on principle now. 7 people reached out to me to reconsider. Your email said thank you for your service. You basically demonstrated exactly what I was describing in my email to you, of the behaviors that I don't think you're aware of.
3 minutes.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Stavros, I did try to call you.
This is not about one event.
No, it's my turn now. Stavros, I did try to call you. I called you 3 times. I asked Nick to invite you guys as well to the ribbon cutting. I asked you at township meetings to ask you if you wanted to come to the ribbon cutting. The reason it was at 12 noon was because that's when John and Peggy Post were able to come. And the only reason we pushed ahead with the restrooms is because the Post Foundation had donated $100,000 4 years ago. And Mr. Post was getting a little antsy, and without him requesting to get his donation back, we pushed forward, and I asked Nick to get the restrooms in place before the Post Foundation took the $100,000 back, which they had every right to do. So I wasn't doing it with ill intention or anything like that. I was trying to get our restrooms up as soon as possible before the Post Foundation said, hey, it's been 4 years, we gave you $100,000, we want to go donate it somewhere else. That being said, I do thank you for your service, Stavros. You do a tremendous amount for this community, and we're lucky to have you. And I did not want to see you resign from the Park and Rec Committee because you do a great job with the events. And the reason the 4th of July fireworks were successful this year was because of your effort leading, because of the Park and Rec Committee, and because of Nick Graziano. Those were the ones who did a great job with it.
You're not addressing me. Your words mean nothing to me, John.
Well,
Your behaviors have dictated who you are. Because talk is cheap. I do. I don't need to talk a lot. I just keep doing what I do. I've done it for years.
You've had your 3 minutes, Stavros. I tried to call you. I tried to call you. No, Anthony. You can. I did. I said thank you. Now it's question and answer. So I'll leave it at that. Stavros, thank you. Anyone else? Public comment. Ron.
Mr. Birmingham, I'm not surprised about any of this. You were
Name and
great.
address, please, Mr. Angle.
And
What's that?
spelling,
Name and address, please.
Oh, Ron Angle, $52 million highway, Mount Bethel, USA,
you spelling last name for me?
ANGLE. It's pretty evident, Mr. Birmingham.
Nick, are you timing this?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead, Ron.
When are you gonna start?
I started that.
No, start over, start now.
Oh, okay. Ready, Ron?
Mr. Birmingham, it's pretty evident how you operate, it really is. I've watched you for quite some time. It's all about you getting the glory, all about you getting the recognition. You don't really care about Mr. Barbonis or any of the other people on that Park and Recreation Board, quite frankly. And I would be surprised if Mr. Post, who's done a wonderful job, him and his wife and the foundation, of helping this township with a number of things, wonderful people. I came to the ribbon cutting, not to see you, because frankly, I really detest anymore having to see you. But I came to honor the Post, who are very good people. I would kind of question whether they threaten to withdraw their money, by the way. That's your opinion of what you're saying. But the long and short of it is, you did what you did. You don't care about these people. You don't care about the job you done. It's all about, does John Birmingham get the glory? Oh, Mr. Birmingham, you're wonderful. You know, I watch you in action, and it is kind of comical because I'd like to think you're auditioning for a higher office, but frankly, I don't have any idea what a higher office it would be, nor whether you have the ability to do that. But what is really sad here is instead of recognize people who have done the job, it's all about John Birmingham. Oh, the grand poobah, Mr. Birmingham. End the case.
I want a transcript of tonight's recording. This, I mean, Ron, there are many things I do.
Now, you don't need to address me. If you address me, then I got to
I
come
can
back
address.
and re-address you.
I can address.
Okay, then I'll come back.
Give him the rest of his 3 minutes. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear from you while I'm here.
No, I said, Ron,
No, that's how you operate. That's the whole
I'm
point.
about to
That's
address
exactly
you.
how you operate.
Ron, I'm about to
you don't,
address you.
You don't fool anybody anymore. You do fool a few people over here who are still the followers. They'll still drink the Kool-Aid for you. But most of the rest of us have figured out what the hell is going on here, including your study on Act 537. How many times? Yeah, that's all right, Mr. Freeman. Yeah, my time is up. Thank you.
does anybody else have a public comment? Yeah, Judy.
Judith Henkel, it's Henckele, 1752 Robin Hood Road. Yeah, I had something else to say, but first, Stavros, talk to me about open space and EAC, and find out when the people who are in charge, if they don't agree with you, what can happen or not. So, I'm sorry for your, disappointment, but we don't all agree on here, obviously. So my comment now is, you've seen in the paper different articles on the pollution from warehouses. That's a Jersey article, but it appears to us. But the other one was, we are now in a heat advisory and it's the orange code for pollution in the Lehigh Valley. And so I don't forget, there's also drought that we're, not drought specifically, but we're on the verge of drought again with water. So I'm thinking, years ago, all I kept hearing about was, oh, the Lehigh Valley doesn't help us, they don't do anything, economic development, Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, blah, 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 because they're thinking of business and money. On the other hand, we have been doing well with farmland preservation and open space. So my thought came, as the fireworks were going off the other night, what is, yeah, that is I know. What's going to be the difference in a few years if the whole industrial complex gets built? We'll have our own little mini city there with all these buildings and the blacktop, whether it's blacktop, the roads and everything else. That's going to cause more heat for our area and more pollution. So for all those people, we're so happy that now supposedly Lehigh Valley and economic people are spotting us for growth and development. I hope they're all happy, because for the rest of us, our quality of life is going down the tubes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, public comment? Okay, moving on. Number 4, we have the consent agenda. This has the meeting minutes from June 10th, 2024, the workshop meeting minutes from June 4th, 2024, and the special meeting minutes from June 27th, 2024. It also has exonerations and refunds. Is there any of the 4 items on the consent agenda that anyone would like moved to the regular agenda? Okay, can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is the bill list. Nick?
Yes, Mr. Chair, for the general fund, we have $264,116.13. The interim bills was $8,880. The rec fund was $656.90, and interim bills were $2,019.26. The road machinery fund was $5,224. The EIT open space fund was $5,237.50. And the escrow account was Philip Jones Minor Subdivision, $506.25. Land Tech Building Addition was $4,510. Cloverleaf Saddle Club was $6,170.75. And we had an additional bill for landscaping that I gave everybody was $6,400 for a total of $303,720.79. Mr. Chair, you get a motion to approve the bills.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Next up is the ordinance 2024-01 vacating Marshfield Drive. Ron?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just a little close. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you will recall, this matter was heard by a petition to vacate Marshfield Drive that was heard and a decision rendered on December 29, which was the last meeting of 2023. At that time, there were various conditions that were made part of the motion, which took some time in order to make them part of now the ordinance that has to be adopted in order to vacate the portion of Marshfield Drive in question. And I'm going to read those conditions verbatim so that everyone can remember what they were, or at least recall what they were. So the board at that time voted to approve the vacation and realignment of a portion of Marshfield Drive on the following conditions. That River Point Logistics Center, LLC, will pay to the township on an annual basis the township's loss of liquid fuel monies for the vacated portion of Marshfield Drive. This payment is to continue until River Point Drive is constructed and built to township standards and offered for dedication to the township. The 2023 annual liquid fuels amount is $4,527.68, which amount will likely increase on an annual basis, and that increased amount will be paid by River Point Logistics on an annual basis no later than March 31 of the following year. The second condition is that emergency access roads, including any stub roads, will be constructed with cul-de-sacs so that liquid fuel monies will be able to be received by the township for those roads. The third condition is the stub street off Potomac Street of approximately 500 feet cannot be used for any through traffic or construction vehicles to access any lot within the RPL project. The fourth condition is that River Point Drive must be constructed and built to township standards and offered for dedication to the township. And the final condition is if River Point Drive is not so constructed or built to township standards, or is not offered for dedication to the township, River Point Logistics must return the vacated portion of Marshfield Drive back to passable condition for use by motor vehicles and pedestrians. So with those conditions, the township approved the petition to vacate and realign a portion of Marshfield Drive, and tonight is the follow-up ordinance that must be adopted in order to confirm that approval.
I just have a question for her. Have we ever heard anything from Lantec about their emergency access off of Marshfield?
I have not. I did put a call in, but I can't tell you if I maybe put it into the right person or whatever, but I have not heard anything from them with respect to this. So I don't know if that means it's okay or that they don't know or something in between.
So there's no ramifications that they haven't notified us about their access?
Well, they were notified with respect to the petition being filed. When the petition was filed, all the surrounding owners had to be given notice of this particular petition. And I think that included Ultra Poly, Lantec. I'm not sure if it's Air Liquide, let me see who we have here. So that in theory, if they had any questions, then they should have come in at that time and, said whatever.
All right, I just want to know if they were duly notified and
See, they
chose not to take any action.
Yeah, River Point Logistics was notified on December 14th of the petition, and it was by certified mail return receipt requested, which was signed for. Custom Laminating was also notified on December 14, and their card is noted, their ring card is noted as receipt on December 18. So they received notice. Now, whether or not they put it on top of the refrigerator, if you know what I mean. Now they can't tell you, but they did get notice.
So now, Ron, I have a question. So I see the petition.
You should have the ordinance, because the petition is simply something from before. You should have an actual ordinance in hand.
I don't see the ordinance.
Well, let me pass over the one I have in my file, and you can take a peek at it, or we can copy it and have you guys look at it. Yeah, you have like one page of it in your packet. I'm not quite sure why, but that's,
Oh, all right. So the conditions that RPL has to abide by,
you'll see them on like page 2 or 3.
they're in this ordinance?
Yes, if you look at page 2 or 3,
I see it.
you'll see conditions on the bottom and then going to the top.
Okay.
So they are part of this ordinance.
Okay.
And that was the approval that was given by the board. Now, RPL, I'm not saying to be cute, RPL may say, well, we don't like those conditions. Well, those are the conditions that the board granted. This is the ordinance that's being adopted. If for some reason you would not like the ordinance, well, then you have 30 days to appeal under the law.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be maps attached to that.
Yeah.
In fact, they're sort of those kind you have to sort of piece together, but they're back there.
Do any supervisors have any questions? Any concerns?
Now, what would this ordinance number be?
I don't know, that's why I have 2004 dash blank. I think it might be the first one for this
I think
year.
it's 01, pretty sure it's 01.
I don't think we've done any this year
I
yet.
think it should be duly numbers before we vote on it.
Well, we can number it, that's easy enough, but I don't think we've done any others. I'm thinking as we're talking, no, I think this, we've done resolutions. We've done a number of resolutions, but.
Yeah, I think you just say the correct sequential numbering of this ordinance.
And then, Mr. Chair, that being said, I make a motion we pass ordinance number 2024-01.
Okay, and he's referring to the ordinance vacating Marshfield Drive with conditions and where the adjoining properties are all owned by River Point Logistics Center LLC.
That's correct.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that one.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next up is Roman numeral number 7, tabled items. First up is the Feasibility Study Act 537 plan. And this was put onto the agenda basically to see what do we want to do at this point with the feasibility study with the Act 537 plan. Do we want to move forward? Do we want to wait on this? The township is currently under a lawsuit litigation right now. So that's why I wanted to put it on the agenda to see what we want to do as supervisors. So I'll open it up for discussion.
Mr. Chair, I think we can perhaps start having our engineer look into the 537 plan, but we won't take any actions until these lawsuits are settled. So I think we can instruct our engineer, Mr. Coyle, to take steps necessary to implement the 537 plan.
Okay? Anyone else?
I mean, we do need it, so, but with the lawsuits too, we don't want to spend any extra money, but I think we should, you know, either go backwards, bring up, I mean, we weren't involved in it back then, so let's bring back what was put in place and what currently could be.
Okay.
We had the basics for a 537 plan, then it just needs some revision, cleaning up. But there were some things that weren't there when the 537 plan was originally drawn up by, I think, Mr. Coyle and Carroll Engineering. So those things can now be applied to this plan. And any further plans or actions that may have to be needed to update the plan.
Justin, any concerns on your end? I know, I was around when we did this the last time and it didn't go through, the DEP didn't approve it. But I would assume with everything that they commented on, we would be able to learn from that and to...
And respond to it?
Yeah, and respond to it.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I know we've had some discussion on this in the past. I believe it, putting together some type of ad hoc committee, whether there's a planning commission member or board supervisor or two, just to kind of revisit the prior draft that was done back in 2018, 2019, look at the comments from DEP, and then further investigate updating the Act 537 plan based upon what we know now 6-7 years later. So,
Yeah.
really, it's the will of the board, but my recommendation would be to have some type of sewer committee put together as well.
And perhaps, Mr. Coyle, we can get a letter of recommendations what you would like to see in order to move forward with this plan.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, there's a motion on the table, and what was the motion?
So I just made a motion, we start moving forward with the feasibility study act, 537 plan, and that we get a letter of recommendation from Mr. Coyle about what he would like to see enacted or done in order to further this plan.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, motion is on the floor, it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is municipal building security. Nick?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this was tabled from last meeting. Again, we need to get the access, at least the access, building in the township. We gotta get that taken care of, since a lot of the hardware that we have here is outdated and not properly in compliance. We can't add anybody to our system. I spoke with Stavros, our IT, and he spoke, I don't think he did speak to Jake. Yeah, they just didn't sync up with each other, but moving forward, we both agree that at least we get this access taken care of. But the cameras, we could wait. Stavros has more information that he wants to get. But I would just ask the board if we could just move forward at least with the access and make us in compliance.
And
Should be noticed there are also egress problems. If the power goes off, you're not getting out of this building.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with the system that we have in place.
we don't have an estimate, a cost estimate or?
Yeah, Cooper, the new company that took over for the previous company, gave us an estimate. I gave that last, let me repeat it again. The total cost installed is $5,250 for, with the exception of the cameras, that was separate. Everything, all doors, access upgraded, making it easier for Cindy, to add people, take people off, more access than, it's, the system that we have right now doesn't work at all.
So are you looking for a motion to go with Cooper, to have them?
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Any questions from the supervisors?
Is there any way we can recoup any of the money that was put out from everything installed incorrectly?
Well, that's an issue that, Dave and I have been looking into it, and I don't know if Ron's been, I don't know if he was involved.
I have looked at it, and obviously we would need an expert
Right.
in the business to say that this person who put the stuff in before, the other expert, did something wrong. No different than, medical malpractice case where a doctor says this doctor did something
No, I get it.
wrong, or an accountant case where an accountant says that accountant did something wrong. If you got a person who is willing to say that and go to court and say that, you have a good opportunity of recovery. And whether you'll collect it is another story. Getting a judgment and collecting a judgment sometimes are two vastly
Right.
different things. But
For the record, Cooper does mention that in his estimate, and also our IT, and I'm not saying anybody's gonna go to court, but they have documented it.
He said it right in that estimate.
Yeah, we asked him, and he did, and actually Supervisor Freeman did, and he did comment on it.
That it was installed improperly and not
Yeah,
according to
yeah,
code.
not code, and it references to it in the proposal.
Okay.
So if we do the 5,000 to do this, and then what was installed not that long ago, and if there were fees leading up to where we're at right now, can we push to recoup any of this?
It's a legal issue, Corey, I mean,
you could, if you want to.
But then now we're up against another legal battle.
Yes, you would be. I mean, you could certainly file at the local district judge. The local magisterial district judge can take claims up to $12,000. I don't know if this would, what was lost or how the township was damaged fits within that number, but you could file something there. But I tell most people that's really just a dry run, if you will. Because if you lose before the magisterial judgment, what is the defendant going to do? Are they going to pay you $12,000, pay $150 and take the appeal to town floor.
I mean, if we've
So-
just been spending a lot of money monthly and not have the correct system,
Well,
it's gonna
again,
cost us $5,000 to set us up, and then how much are the fees gonna be monthly, or, I don't know. I mean, we're getting hit from every angle with the lawsuit fees. It would be nice to try to recoup some of this from, incorrect security cameras.
Again, I believe that you would have a good chance of winning. Whether you can collect is another story, because again, there's so many different rules and regulations. I've had a number of claims where I have had judgments for many thousands of dollars, and the person just says, file bankruptcy, I still keep everything, and you get nothing, see you later.
Until that matter comes up, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the Cooper's bid to get our security up to standards.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Marty, you wanted to make a point?
Marty Penner, Lindsay Lane,
Can you spell your last name for me?
Pinter. Two things. Number one, if I remember correctly, the prior system cost about $15,000.
It was
Give or-
16,000.
So I underestimated, 16,000. So Ron, if we were to fight this as a township, what do you believe the cost would be? Whether or not we recoup it or not, what's the cost? What's our ROI?
Well, if you're using my rate and not the cousin's rate, and it's not meant to be a left-handed comment, you say my rate, which is 135, you're probably looking at, to get it through the first level trial, hearing, arbitration, no appeals, whatever, probably somewhere around $500 to $7,500. That way of legal fees and costs.
Okay.
Somewhere around that first level. Now, if they would appeal, then there'd be other costs, and appeal again, there'd be other costs, but that
I just-
first level.
As a citizen, I get concerned that we have services coming in and doing work, they're not up to standard or qualifications, and us as a township just kind of roll over and take the punch and lay down on it. It'll be no different than work on any of the equipment out there that doesn't perform, or we're just gonna pay and say, thanks for not doing the work, but we'll pay you anyway, and move on. I mean, is it good money to spend or not? I mean, Jason's the treasurer, he ought to know what's in the account and what we can spend and what we can't. So is it a good financial step forward? But I think you guys and gals need to make sure that you don't set precedents, and really stand up and for what we've done.
There's
So-
more involved in this than the 16,000.
Oh, I'm sure,
Yeah.
all I'm talking about was the security, I'm not talking about the cameras.
That was
I know there's more than the 16,000, I'm just talking about the scanning things.
Yeah.
So-
And you should know, Mr. Former Chair, that
Northampton County requires that any case of $50,000 or less must first go to arbitration. So if the township's within that 50,000 or less bubble, then the case goes to arbitration, which will move it more quickly and maybe not be as costly as a trial where you're picking juries and everything else.
I'm sure it'll probably add up to that rather closely, so.
But if it's under 50, it must be heard by arbitration, not can be, must be heard by arbitration.
Which could or could not hurt us, so,
Sometimes I'll do arbitration, even if it's more than 50, I'll tell my client, just say it's 50, because I want to have a test run. I want to see how their witnesses are. I want to see how good they're going to be, or how bad we're going to be, or how good we're going to be, and what evidence is going to be presented, what exhibits are going to be, going across our desk. So sometimes I use it for a little trial run.
it's good to practice, Ron. Thank you.
Do we have an idea of how much we've spent on that security system?
Over 2 or 3 years, over $75,000.
We gotta try to recoup
We would-
some of that.
What Marty's talking about was one incident.
Yeah.
But again, going with our solicitor says legally.
Dave, you're looking into this, right? Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Is this something until we have more information, we wait before we pull the trigger on it? I mean, it would
What
be
we're
nice
gonna have
to-
the Cooper do is verify. That's all. Verify anything that he sees that is maybe not up to code or whatever.
Yeah, and I think we should have a discussion with Cooper to see if he would be willing to be a witness if this were to go to court or
Yes.
arbitration.
That's
A
another
lot
good
of times
question.
people will say things and then when it goes to court, they get amnesia.
Well,
Well,
the problem
what are you
is, though,
talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
He would have his bills backed up.
Yeah, he could still get amnesia if he wanted.
Yeah, I understand.
If he put in his initial report, I think
That helps.
That helps a
Because
lot.
now you've got it in writing and it's tough for him to now try to reach back and change
I
that.
think step one is to fix our security issue, and then we can take
Yeah, fix
a
what's,
bit of time to plan out our course of action going forward, but the problem still persists with our security at hand right now.
fix what's good, so God forbid with all the power outages, everybody can get out, but I don't think we should just let this lay down.
As a legal matter, I agree with the supervisor, I would correct the problem, but then do not let this go, because it's just too much to walk away
It's,
from.
what
So I
you
agree
guys
with
would say,
supervisor.
7,500 or 75,000?
That's a minimum,
Minimum 75,000, so let's fix so the building works correctly for 5,000. And then if we can get our ducks in a row and this company's gonna help us, then I think we should pursue this.
And we have that money budgeted for the 5,000.
That we
Yeah.
can put into making the security correct.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah. Just to be clear, Mr. Chair, too, it's just for the access. I think the motion, I don't know if the motion was clear. Just the, it's not the,
Motion was for Cooper.
yeah, not for the cameras.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
That's what I have noted in my list,
Yeah.
for the access upgrades, not the
Yep.
cameras.
Just wanted to make sure it was clear.
Okay, any other points, any other concerns, discussion on Supervisor Friedman's motion? Okay, those all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to new business, Roman numeral 8, power outages, Met Ed. Nick?
Okay, Mr. Chair, everybody wants to talk about this. I know I live here just like everybody knows that. We've had a lot of problems with electric this year, exponentially. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of dead trees, a lot of old equipment. I just want to let you all know that I've been in touch with Ann Flood's office. She has a liaison with the Power Authority. We did get, with that last storm that we had that everybody was out, I did get calls from Med Ed, and which I never did. So it did work, and she's still working with it. She has a contact in Harrisburg that's working on what's going on. And it so happens that I got a phone call from a gentleman from Med Ed. I don't know if everybody's seen all of the postings on Hayden and $1 Million Highway. So they have like a 3-year project that's pushed, that they have to get it done. They want to get it done immediately. And it really is based on all you guys calling. I'll jump back to that. When there's an outage, call. And I'm going to give numbers. You could text, call, go on email. It does work. It does work. They get out here. We've had, the last storm, we've had trucks all over. They communicated with Lindsay Manzi, our foreman. They changed us. I live up by Saddle Creek. I know there's residents here that live up there. It's just like the wind blows, and on a nice day, and the lights go out, so we all have generators so we can live. But anyway, it's what they're gonna do is they're gonna move the old infrastructure that's in Taylor's property that's in the woods, and reflecting to that, those are, if something goes down in the woods in the very tough area to get into, that's the last place that they will go to fix. Because what they want to do is go to the easiest path first to get as much people up as running quick as possible, and those are the ones that are on the road that they have access to. The last ones are the ones that are hidden in the woods. It takes manpower to get in there, got the right equipment, but I won't labor that, but everybody understands that. So what they're going to do is they're going to move that whole structure, that infrastructure, and they're going to put it onto Hayden and $1 Million. And it's going to connect us to the substations, which I didn't know, and you probably didn't know, but on Turkey Ridge, we were actually working on Jersey's Columbia station. They switched us. So there's different areas, and I didn't even know that it even existed there, but that's what they just were waiting for a phone call to switch us, and they did. But anyway, they're going to put in 7 poles, and there's 2 guide joists, with, I guess they hold the poles up. And it's going to go along the preserve outside. You can see it all marked up. You can see it for yourself where everything's going. But they're going to move all of that infrastructure out into the open. So you're going to see a lot of work there. They are going to take some trees down, whatever. It's going to be 25 feet from the center line in. So it's our property. It's not private property. It's our property that they're going on to. And our chairman signed the documentation so we can get this rolling. But that would, and he told me, the gentleman, I mentioned his name, but he told me, he says, I don't know what happened, he says, but this is a priority. He says, this usually takes like 3 years to get together. So, if he's a car salesman, maybe he is, he's going to soften me up, but hey, they're coming out, and they're doing it, and I've actually talked to that guy today who's out there again, checking out the site. So that works. So that's one upgrade for our area. I also spoke to a gentleman that handles, he's a consultant for MedEd that handles all the trees that are inside the wires, bad areas, and he was in our area. And he called me for a maple tree down in Deer Run area, and they have to get that tree down. And again, it's on our easement, so that we approved them to do that. And I said to him, I said, listen, if you can, I said, I got you I got you on the phone and you're in the area. I said, can you check the area from Kovar Lane to Driftstone? Because that area is terrible for trees coming down, and affects not only Driftstone and the people that live in that area, but affects all of us because it's a line that feeds everybody. And it's costing us a lot of overtime because it just happens that these storms are on the weekends. And we had to actually call in a tree service because we couldn't get, it was so dangerous, we couldn't get into the lines. But he's going to actually go there and check those trees out and see if we could get them, their services to get those trees and get them out of the infrastructure. So there is movement, but I do want to give everybody some numbers if you want to write them down, and everybody at home that's listening, this way you have these numbers, because that is the most important part. No one's going to answer the phone, we all know that. You text somebody, but it works. So the one number which is easy is 1-888, and it's lights with 2 S's. 1-888, and it's lights. So it's 1-888-544-4877. You also can text out to lights, which is 54487. 54487. And then the last one is by email, is on their website, which is www.firstenergycorp.com, which probably everybody knows. And it says, and go to report outage. So those are 3 different ways of getting access, because a lot of times we don't have cell service, so there's different ways to get in touch with people. So the other thing is, which I really recommend, I'm not going to read it to everybody, it's a long article, but I give you the information so maybe you can take a look at it. It talks about the power grids and the concerns between green energy and all this coal closing, and it's a pretty interesting article, and it shows how if they keep closing all of these coal and natural gas facilities, the green energy is not going to catch up. So it's not working together. It's actually going to be worse. So they're trying to slow down the closures and move the green energy quicker because the demand is just getting so much more as time goes on, but the supply is going down. So that's not working. But it was in the Morning Call, and it was the Sunday paper, June 30th, 2024, and the name of the article is Power Grids Concerns Complicate Green Energy Discussion, and it was by Kate Hongpu. Excuse me if she's ever, I know she's not listening, but that's her HUANGPU. So if you're interested, it's a pretty interesting article. So it kind of explains what's going on where we're out doing our own thing, and going to work and being good citizens. So, but that's what I have for everybody. If there's any questions on it, or if somebody has any more information that I can get in touch with Ann Flood or with NetEd, it's very difficult to get in touch with NetEd. But for whatever reason, the guys that come here, they all work with us, and they really are working hard. It's not them. It's kind of like the same thing about our ambulance. It's not the guys that work. It's the company. It's the infrastructure. It's the hierarchy that just doesn't get it. That's how I feel about it. But if anybody has any questions, be happy to answer or try to answer the questions.
Any questions for Nick?
Nick, just so that you are aware, I talked to some of the residents around Dripstone, and it's not only the power outages that they have problems, but over on high usage days, they're seeing under 100 volts. I know that they are at the end of the line, but yeah, their lights are dimming in their kitchens, and it's around 5 o'clock when everyone comes home from work. So it's just if they could upgrade the size of the line, I know that that's a huge project too, but it's not just the outages that seem to be affecting them on high usage days.
I could mention that to them. I don't know if they will listen, but I will mention it.
I'm not saying a word.
But that's what I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, Ron.
The long and short of it is we're using more energy than we're generating.
Yeah.
And the green people always worry about the stuff that goes up in the air. They shut down the Portland plant because people in New Jersey didn't want the coal. What nobody's paying attention to, if you really follow all of this, in China, every couple of weeks they open a new coal-fired plant. That all goes in the same atmosphere. So, the whole thing is kind of a joke. But green energy is not the answer. And right now with air conditioning, with this kind of heat, it puts that extra demand on. And there's no way you can catch up with solar and winds and what, it just doesn't generate enough.
I hear they're starting to talk about nuclear again.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Just talking about it, they're going.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Nick. Appreciate that update. Okay, next up is National Night Out. This is just a discussion on whether the supervisors want to host a National Night Out. This is a yearly event where we recognize police officers, state troopers, for all that they do in protecting us and keeping us safe. So it's a yearly event. It would be August 6th, so that looks like that Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday night.
Yep.
Okay, so just want to throw it out there if we want to try and put something together for a National Night Out. And where would it be? Where would we host it?
Well, first, I think we have to find who may be interested before we go through this and nobody shows up.
Like the state troopers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have one or two guys patrolling the area. We should take up the TK, buy them a couple of beers.
Now while you're working. All right, yeah, let me look into, see if we can put something together. I mean, a Tuesday night also is, I mean, how many people are you gonna get out on a Tuesday night? Unless we did something early and like pizza. Yeah, yeah.
Fire company as well.
No, just for police officers.
better and better.
Do you?
It's not just to celebrate them, it's just making sure the community, to help them, really help the community. Just look at it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll come back next meeting and give a further update.
Supervisor Earler, alternate constable cruiser.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to acquire an alternate constable cruiser for the township.
And the purpose of this alternate constable cruiser?
Our constable and manager has been using his own vehicle for township work, and although I have nothing against this and he's been accommodated for it, I believe it would be beneficial to have an auxiliary marked township vehicle. 2 weeks ago, his cruiser broke down. With everywhere he goes and does for the township, an alternate would have been helpful. Also at large events like the 4th of July show, where other constables come in, could be beneficial for traffic flow. If we lack the room at the municipal building, I'm sure that perhaps maybe 1 or 2 residents wouldn't mind the car sitting in their driveway for a short amount.
Any thoughts from other supervisors? Well, there's been a motion. Let's deal with the motion first, because Supervisor Earler made a motion. So there's a motion on the floor to purchase an alternate constable cruiser. Okay, is there a second? Okay, there's no second. So the motion dies. Nick, what kind of shape is your car in?
No, my car is fine. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of legal things with the constable. As you can't, you want to have lights. There's constables aren't allowed to have blue and red lights. It's the law. So you can't put blue and red lights on it. And the reason why I drive around without my labels, my placards on, is because I'm the township manager when I'm working here. I'm always a constable. It's 24/7. That goes without saying. But a year ago, Ron knows we had one of our citizens that didn't like that I was the constable, and we made an agreement that hey, I'm not going to wear my uniform, and the judge actually asked me about how's my car labeled, and I told her, I said, I don't have anything on there that says the constable. I have lights, but the lights are to protect me when I go on 611 by Fran's house and I don't get wiped out. So I put the light right, Fran? Yeah. And that's what, because I'm on the road with the guys. That's different. But there's no blue or red lights, and that's going through the legal through Harrisburg because there are some constables that have it, but we don't. And even putting a constable's placard on a car, to me, that's not going to work. It's not. We already agreed with PSATs not to do that unless I was just being a constable. Like if I was going to work at July 4th, I was going to work as the constable. But when things changed, I didn't. So I brought in another constable to replace me. I didn't have my constable placards on. So It's just, just abiding by the law. But I will say, he has a point that, because my car was a police car, it looks like a police car undercover. So when I park, and I bring this all the time where Corey lives, I park there to help the guys, and nobody stops at that stop sign there. But when I was parked there, people were hitting the brakes, they were sliding, parking by her driveway, the stop sign was over there, and I'm like, what are you doing? So it does work. It does work, but then people will pick up on it and say, oh, that's Nick. I'm not stopping. Everybody knows me now in my car, so, which is fine. I'm here to help everybody when I'm the town, like I said, I'm the township manager, but, yeah. So, those are my thoughts on it, but, Jonathan has a good point. We're trying to stop traffic on 611, anything that we can do, but to me, I don't think that's the right direction to go. We have enough vehicles. I drove around when my car was down. I just drove with this SUV, which was fine. I got from A to B. We have enough vehicles. I'll drive, the pickup or the 4-ton. I have a CDL, so I will drive whatever I have to drive. To me, we don't need another truck like that, but that's up to the board.
Okay, thank you, Nick, and thank you, Jonathan, for looking into it. Okay, and you're up again, Supervisor Erler, first aid classes for Mount Bethel residents.
This is a discussion to establish first aid classes. This stems from the ambulatory meetings with other municipalities. Our current wait time for an ALS, or Advanced Life-Saving Ambulance, is 45 minutes. We are trying to reduce that, but until we do, I'd like to organize some kind of critical first aid classes for our residents, like CPR, stop the bleed, adult and child first aid. I've been trying to contact Bob Madoff at Citronia Ambulance Company for the last month, and I haven't gotten very much of a response.
Have you tried it by email?
Yes.
Okay.
4 times by email, then called his office.
Who used to get first aid, Red Cross or something?
I was told he was the best to contact.
I'd be interested in basic first aid.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Maybe I'll try to reach out to him and copy you on the email, see if anything works.
Okay. Anything to get our foot in the door on one.
Okay.
I think a basic first aid course would be beneficial.
Mr. Chair, if I can interject, the cost of this, is that borne on the individual, or?
No, they do it for free. Yeah, they do it for free.
Ambulance? Oh, they will? Okay.
Yeah. And you're going to do it at the firehouse, right?
As soon as I can get contacts, I'd like to put a schedule with a sign-up sheet. Depending on what classes we can get, CPR and stop the bleed are for the emergency situations where an ambulance is 100% necessary. And you generally don't have 45 minutes if those are the cases. So, yes, I'd like to have it at the firehouse to accommodate as many residents as we can.
Yeah, great idea. I'm sorry, Nick, were you going to say something?
Well, since Ed, we always trained our guys for CPR, but it costs us $100 an individual. Suburban, it was never looked into, because there is a gentleman that comes here every day that's certified to give those classes, but it's $100. He doesn't do it for free.
I would compare that to what Centronia is offering, because when he gives the classes, you get certified, right?
Yeah, you get a card, it's good for 2 years.
Yeah,
which is standard issue.
Yeah, I don't know if Centronia does that. I know Suburban came years ago and did like CPR classes, but I don't think they certified whoever came. I think it was just
like
more
a basic course.
education.
Yeah, this is a full-blown 8-hour day.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, because I don't think the Centronia would be an 8-hour all-day CPR presentation. It'd probably be like an hour or two, would be my guess.
Possibly. In the packet, he says that there's training involved with his classes.
Okay. Well, let's look into that more, but we gotta get in contact with them.
Yeah.
John, Bob said he sent you a response today and about 2 weeks ago also.
The only response I got to him was that he was on vacation, and when he got back, he would respond to me.
Yeah, but you know what, your emails get sent back to me a lot, so it might be something with your email address, I don't know. They might, who knows, maybe Stavros, you can look into that.
Your outside emails, I can't guarantee your AOL is gonna get to the township. The township works.
I've been in contact with him trying to get my email fixed.
Hey,
but I've been using my personal email because I've been having that issue with certain critical things such as this.
Hey, Chief, can you ask Bob if John, Supervisor Erler, can call him tomorrow?
Yeah, he said, please ask him to check his email. I will follow up with him. But he said his teams are scheduled months in advance for classes.
And just let him know Supervisor Erler will call him tomorrow to set up a date. Please, thanks.
Can you spell it? Speak into the microphone.
Okay, moving onward. Section Roman numeral 9, we'll do public comment again. Nick, if you can time it, please, that'd be great. Anybody want to make a public comment? Yeah, Karen.
Karen Pinter, 39 Lindsay Lane, Karyn Pinter. Supervisor Birmingham, first off, Parks and Rec is not a committee. We are a board. In your Facebook post, you refer to us as a committee. Tonight, you refer to us as a committee. We are a board. Secondly, I sent an email on behalf of the Parks and Rec Board requesting your presence at our meeting on Thursday evening, and we have not yet heard back from you. And finally, this township lost the best asset we have in Stavros leading the Parks and Rec Board. He has done more for Upper Mount Bethel than anyone else in the township has in recent years, and is doing it without looking for any recognition or limelight. It is becoming increasingly difficult to not only find volunteers, but to find quality volunteers. Not only do we lose his time and service, but that of also his family that were regularly helping at events and behind the scenes. I talked to him personally after he submitted his letter of resignation with the hope that he would reconsider, and then I read the email you sent him. There was no need for him to return your call after you sent that email in response to his resignation. Your email defending your actions and thanking him for his service was a slap in his face. Was a slap in the face not only to him but to everyone on the Upper Mount Bethel Township Parks and Recreation Board. Thank you, Stavros, for all you've done not only for Parks and Rec Board but for all of Upper Mount Bethel Township. The fireworks on Saturday evening would not have been possible without all the work, particularly you and Sharon did with the months of planning and securing vendors. Thank you.
Thank you. And Karen, I'll let you know if I can make Thursday. I got your email last night. As of right now, I cannot, but I'll let you know. I'm trying to work it out where I can. Anyone else public comment? Okay. We're going to go into executive session.
What about announcements?
Oh, yeah. Let's move back. Let's go back to announcements. Nick, announcements.
They got a long one there.
I'll take it now.
I want to segue off of Karen, that she's talking about July 4th. And for me, I know how much work that Stavros has put in there, and I physically realized it Saturday night. Kudos to you, Stavros. And I understand, why you left, and we didn't want you to leave, but I understand your reasoning. But I want to thank the Post, for funding the fireworks every year, and the veterans. They're such a great asset to our community. And I want to thank Cindy and Gary Lindsay Manzai, Tom Reinhardt, Donnie Diana, Nick Bailey, Randy Crane, Scott Cole, the Park and Rec Board, April and Karen and Sharon. We all came together. We made it happen. Lance Prater from Portland and Heather Fisher, the North Bangor Fire Department, Mike Reese and Jimmy Potter for taking care of 611 and Potomac Street. There was probably 1,000 cars that we had to get out. They all came in 4 hours, and we got them out in 40 minutes. And it was because of the concerted effort of everybody. Jimmy Potter, sitting right here. Keith and Tom, I don't know their last names, Jimmy, but thank them. The supervisors, Corey Aikman, Dave Freeman, they brought their mules, and we couldn't have done it without them. I did not see the fireworks. I didn't see the band because I was just running around like a busy bee, which is no big deal. I just wanted to make sure it got done for the community, and that's who I really want to thank is the community, everybody that came out. We had thousands of people there, and it started with Stavros and the board, because since I became manager, I've been sitting on that board, helping them, coming to the meetings. I told Karen I can't make it this Thursday, and I apologize. I already have plans for vacation. But the effort and the time and with all the vendors, the lines of people, the whole community supported. Everybody was making money, enjoying themselves. The fireworks were awesome. Everybody behaved, and we live in such a great community. And I just want to applaud all of you for the support of the Park and Rec. That money that they get goes right back into the community and the park. And I think Stavros brought up the bathrooms and everything. We don't look back, we look forward. I always kept Stavros involved, and I get the reason why things didn't get done, but we just got to move forward and just continue to make Upper Mount Bethel our priority, all of our priority, and the community. But I want to thank everybody for supporting the community and coming out. There was probably hundreds of cars parked outside on Potomac, on both sides of the street, and we just wanted to make sure everybody was safe, and we did. Everybody was okay, except I guess there was an incident at TK's, but it had nothing to do with us, but it blocked off traffic, so sorry, some people couldn't get in. It took time because the roads were blocked off, but it was an emergency. Thank God everybody's okay. But I just want to thank everybody, not just the guys that did the work, like Randy Crane and Scott Cole. They wouldn't take a break. They just kept going at it like studs. And all the guys, everybody helped each other, and it was a great event. So I just want to finish with that you guys should be proud of this community, coming together. And I want to thank Stavros for putting it all together. It's just unfortunate what happened, and we need to move forward. Thanks, John, for the band. You got the band going, and with the leadership and the board of supervisors. So hopefully next year will be the same, and I'm looking forward to the next events that come forward.
Thanks,
That's
Nick.
my speech.
Anything else? Any other announcements?
Not right now.
Okay.
That's it, thank you.
And also the 4th of July parade. Big thanks to all the fire departments that came out and the parade committee for putting that together. They did a great job. Another successful run at the parade, and I think it was a nice weekend in Upper Mount Bethel with the parade on the 4th and the fireworks on the 6th. So thanks to everyone involved. Supervisor Albert.
No.
Supervisor Early.
Nothing.
Supervisor Friedman.
I'd just like to reiterate what Nick said. I think the 4th of July was a good event, and everybody pitched in, and it was the fireworks were actually nice this year too. So, and also the well ordinance has been presented to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission for review, and I've given it to our Planning Commission to see if they want to review it. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Ekman.
Yes, I would like to thank the Parks and Rec Board for allowing me to be able to be involved, myself and Jen and other people helping, and Cindy. All difference aside and a little bit of mayhem that day, we just kind of threw everything to the side and did what we needed to do to make sure that the residents were happy, we were happy, everything worked out well, and up to our elbows in garbage by 10:30 at night. We were all still not ripping each other's throats out and doing what we needed to do to get it done. Moving forward, I would like to see what the stipulations are on bringing new members in that you guys, I would like you guys to vet if we, it's all agreed. Letters of interest. I think with the people who jumped in Saturday night, not knowing that that's what their plans were gonna be, that were very willing to do it, whether they were a Upper Mount Bethel resident or not, depending on what the bylaws would be, and if we have to turn to Ron, if the board of the Parks and Rec would allow it. I know we can get hands on deck. I haven't worked that hard in a long time, but I can say that, with Karen trying to tell me what to do, we figured it out. So I think we put everything aside and figured it out. So I just want to thank everybody, residents, just everybody. I mean, it was a long night and felt good at the end of the night to finally sit back and be done by midnight to go to bed and start the next day over. So.
And thank you for your MVP moment when you ran home and got your laptop, because we had Raquel Sabella sing, and she's got a wonderful voice, but she brought her music on a thumb drive, and she was supposed to bring her laptop, and she forgot. So we were under a panic situation, and Raquel could have sang it a cappella. She's that good. And Corey jumped in her vehicle, hustled home, and got a laptop back. And I don't know how fast you went, but
It
was
cuts out
fantastic.
at 45 miles an hour, and the speed humps cut it down a little bit, but we still got out.
That's fantastic.
One request is a radio next year, because the cell phone service is a little brutal, and screaming, you can't yell for anybody. Cindy probably was about ready to kill me, but.
And we had a small toilet paper mishap, and I think that's just a learning curve.
The update, there was only one of the stalls was missing toilet paper. I went there on Sunday.
It was a false alarm?
It was a false alarm, but we went crazy getting toilet paper.
So we will find out who that person is that said we were out of toilet paper. But otherwise, the event went really well. So, anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, I enjoy sitting on with the board for Parks and Rec, and I'm looking forward to more events, the way we pulled it together Saturday, the food truck festival coming, and I don't know, I think we could do good things together.
That's great. Excellent. Just a couple updates for me, and also I wanted to thank Lee McDonald for filming the 4th of July parade, and RM Drones, who had the drone going over the 4th of July parade, gave us a video as well. So thank you to both of them for that. I spoke to Susan Wild's office, Congresswoman Susan Wild, about the mailboxes on Route 611. So they are putting me in touch with the congressional liaison at the United States Postal Service. And there has to be a congressional inquiry. So, Fran, we're working on it, but hey, government. So now you got me involved in a congressional inquiry, but I'll keep you updated with what's going on with that. Yeah. And Saturday, July 27th, right here at the Township Building from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., Charlie Hentz is going to be doing a presentation, Refuse Not to Be a Victim. That's what it's called. It's not a firearms class, but it's called Refuse Not to Be a Victim. I attended it a couple of years ago. He gives a lot of valuable information, gives you some ideas for security around your home. It's a really good course to take. So it's from 10 to 1 p.m. Saturday, July 27th. You can get the registration information on the Upper Mount Bethel Township Facebook page. There's the press release is up there and it tells you how to register. Good course, and I recommend it. And it only costs $5, and that's for the book that Charlie will give you. That it contains the course information. That's it for me. Cindy, any announcements?
Code Red.
Don't say it.
Yeah, please sign up for Code Red. I just want to, go off of Nick and Dave and Corey that, 4th of July celebration was fantastic, and Nick was thanking everybody, but I want to thank Nick. So.
Yeah, Nick, you really did step up and really got us through. So why don't we give a big round of applause to Nick for all his hard work.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, now that announcements are over, we're going to head into executive session where we're going to discuss legal issues. It is 8:23. We'll be back. We'll call this meeting back into order. It is, what time? 8:46 p.m. We went back into executive session, discussed some legal issues, and there will be no action taken out of executive session. Okay?
Point of order, you've got to give us a rough idea of what they were, not the specific names and the people, but a rough idea.
Ron?
It was discussion of the
Just a
pending.
second, why do you have to, couldn't you give it Mr. Birmingham?
No, I'm going to the
Yeah,
solicitor.
that's good.
Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Carside.
Discussion of the pending RPO lawsuits.
Oh.
And what may or may not be the township's position with respect to some of those cases, because there's 3 pending right now.
So, well, what's the status right now, if I could ask? We have a special counsel, an alternate solicitor, and I'm not so sure, he might be a Supreme Court Chief Justice, I'm not so sure what his titles are.
Right now, there are 2 actions. There was 1 action filed by RPL for the denial to approve for the ordinance to revoke the municipal authority. That was filed, but really has never been served according to the information that I have. And then there was a recent filing again. That first filing was against the township only. This filing is against the township, all the supervisors, and engineer Coyle.
Oh.
That basically deal with the same
Well,
issues.
he's a nice man, what could he have done wrong?
All right, that being said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Anyway, that's
He wasn't done.
No, we're done, we're done.
Was there any more?
You guys can talk after the meeting.
I'm sorry
Can I
to
get a
interrupt you.
motion to adjourn?
Mr. Fubal.
So moved.
Can I get a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, meeting adjourned.
Ever a dull moment.